Illumination has a bit of a reputation for garbage movies. Well, everything outside of the first Despicable Me and the most recent Despicable Me. Mario movie, but for the first time ever, they've got something that looks actually good? Yeah, it's crazy. It's an original animated movie that 1, isn't writing off any existing IP, 2, isn't trying to hook viewers in with its visuals alone, and 3, actually seems to have a goal-based, character-driven story that isn't a series of standalone fart jokes. And this impossibility of a movie is called Migration. Migration follows a family of Midwestern birds that decides to leave the nest, and they go on an adventure to find a new place to settle. An incredibly simple premise, but it's one that doesn't really need to be all that complex. And that's why I actually have a bit of faith in this movie. Because you see, with a simple character arc-based premise such as this, the story is going to rely on the strength of the characters and their dynamic, and not this huge, multiverse-spanning story. Look, I love Across the Spider-Verse, it's a great movie, but one thing I will say about it is it's ambitious, and sometimes it can be a headache to watch. Sometimes you need those incredibly grounded, simple movies, and this looks to be just that. First of all, it's going to have to rely on not the scope of its story or the scale, but the characters. First of all, you've got Kumail Nanjiani as the head of the family. Yes, Prismo himself. You've also got Elizabeth Banks as the mother, Danny DeVito as this grandpa character. This is a really talented voice cast who I could see playing off each other very well. I'll say this though, I don't tend to enjoy the wholesome, family dynamic films as much as the next guy. I don't know what it is, for some reason it's just not my thing, even when it's animated. The Incredibles, well the first one, is really the only good example I can think of a good family dynamic that isn't really annoying and bothersome. So the fact that I'm already ride or die for all of these characters really says a lot. This movie, by all accounts, should be off-putting to me already, but it's not. Now, onto the trailer itself. I guess I should say both trailers, yeah, because this Christmas movie already somehow has 2 trailers, the teaser and the official. The visuals are not typically Illumination's strong suit. They're pretty much as cheap as you can get, especially noticeable with the Despicable Me franchise and The Secret Life of Pets. But watch this.
Let's fly.
Absolutely phenomenal. I plan on making an entire video about the depiction of the Midwest in animation, and ranking films and shows by how accurate they are. And as someone native to that region, I can confidently say that this is spot on. I wouldn't be surprised if the crew who worked on this film took a trip to the Midwest just to do a background study. They've got it right. I also love the character designs. Illumination does do a pretty good job with cute characters in that department.
Here we go, tail.
But birds aren't the easiest creatures to animate. And in a lot of films, they tend to have that miniature human kind of walk cycle and movement. But some of these shots here, especially this one, are really impressive when it comes to the movement and the muscle joints. It looks like the animation department took their time to get the movements just right. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm making it all up in my head. All I can say is this one, as a bird movie, this one hits different. Now, do I think this will be an extremely emotional film? No, get out of here. That's not really how Illumination rolls. But honestly, that's kind of alright. You know, I'm totally down just to watch a fun, family adventure about some migrating birds, with some decent physical comedy thrown in for good measure. That said, this movie does have the potential to dig just a little bit deeper than the typical Illumination outing. From the trailers, it's apparent that the main-ish character is going to be the father figure, and he has problems about leaving the nest and being adventurous, which is an anxiety that I can really relate to as a young adult. I don't know, it just feels like a down-to-earth, contained, genuine, simple story about birds, and I think that's kind of what we need right now. People are sick of the multiverse, gotta know 10 different shows and stuff going into it thing. People are sick of that now. To give you an example, I don't think there's such a thing as superhero fatigue. If there were, Spider-Verse would have been a flop. But I do think there is a fatigue of films that are very sprawling, large-scale, CG-heavy, and you gotta do like 10 chapters of homework just to understand it. That's why Barbie and Oppenheimer, two films that are original ideas, they say something, but they use practical effects. And they're simpler stories that you can really sink your teeth into. That's what's popular now. And Migration actually has a chance to be a pretty good hit. But do you want to know the best part of this trailer? The fucking title graphic. I mean, wow, that's pretty. I might do a video ranking title graphics in the future. If I do, this one's gonna be way up there. It's hard to beat. Anyway guys, those were my jumbled thoughts on the two trailers we've gotten for Migration. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of genuinely excited to see this movie because this is what I go to the movies for, escapism. Sometimes I want to just turn my brain off, watch a fun family movie that has really pretty backgrounds. The whole story really just seems like a setup to have some really beautiful autumn backgrounds. And you know what? I'm looking forward to it. So let me know what you guys think of the trailers for Migration in the comments and on the Discord. Do you think it looks actually good? Have you lost all confidence in Illumination at this point? I think they're kind of on an upswing, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. As a bit of a quick channel update, I know I've been kind of inactive on here recently. I was unable to make videos for a while because I was moving into my first apartment, and it took a while to get settled in, but I'm finally there. Hopefully we got more videos coming in the weeks to come. And I've been behind the scenes really hard at work on some big improvements for my longer video essay videos. I think they're going to be pretty cool. So hopefully you come back for that, and thanks for watching.